Hello, everyone. This is Tijen Genco, and welcome to the podcast called Coaching with Mastery and Elegance with Tijen Genco. I am Master Certified Coach and Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach. I have, as usual, beautiful Marta Regalado with me, and I have additional wonderful coaches, David Shen, Rob Minkes, Marianne Gernetzke, and Michelle Naughton. And Marta, why don't we start with you, and then we can have our guests introduce themselves, and you can also tell us what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely. So today we're going to talk about mentor coaching and the importance of having a mentor coach in your development and growth as a coach, and the importance of finding a mentor coach who is a good fit for you. So someone who's aligned with what's most important to you, your coaching style, your needs, and your values.
That sounds lovely. And do you want to remind our audience about your coaching views as well as your company that they can find you with?
Absolutely. So Marta Regalado from Marta Regalado Coaching, and I do transformational coaching, and I also do copywriting guidance for coaches and other small business owners.
And you are an ACC.
I'm an ACC.
Good.
Yes.
All right. David, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm David Shen, and I've been coaching since probably around 2018 or so. I like to say I practice holistic coaching of the body, mind, and spirit all at once. And I dabble in a lot of energetic techniques as well as traditional coaching. And I just love doing it. And find me on the net.
Beautiful. And you are also an ACC working towards your PCC, right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Good. Wonderful. And Marianne, do you want to go next?
Sure. I have also been coaching since around 2018. I am a PCC as well as a national board certified health and wellness coach, and I offer health and well-being coaching services, which focus on helping individuals overcome limited beliefs and seek personal transformation.
Beautiful. And how people will find you, Marianne?
People will also find me online at createahigherwellbeing.com.
Beautiful. And David, I think you didn't give your website address.
Oh, just coachdshen.com.
Okay, we'll put them in the podcast writing. Yeah, good. And what about you, Michelle?
Yes, I'm just finding out that some of the other people in this group started about the same time I did. I've been coaching since the very end of 2017. And initially I did a lot of professional development, career coaching, but I'm finding that my coaching is transitioning to more of a holistic approach. I'm also very interested in the energetic aspects of what energetic aspects can bring to coaching. So yeah, I do also do some mind-body skills groups and trainings, and I kind of combine my coaching expertise with those sessions as well.
Mm-hmm. And you are also an ACC?
I'm also an ACC, yes. And my website, if that's where we're going, is fletchinsight.com, FLECHE, insight.com.
Thank you, Michelle. And Rob?
Hello, I'm Rob Minkes. I'm an ACC coach. Been coaching for about a year and a half. I have a background in healthcare, and currently my focus is working with physicians, healthcare leaders, and staff and teams, and really aligning their values with their purpose in the work that they do every day. And I can be found on LinkedIn at Robert Minkes, Minkes.
Beautiful. Thank you. So Marta, where would you like to take us to now?
So Tijen, I would love, first of all, thank you everyone for those wonderful introductions. Tijen, I would love to start by asking you if you can kind of define what is mentor coaching and how it differs from coaching supervision. Because to be honest, like I'm not even clear on the difference. So I think it would be really helpful to kind of to define and to clarify.
You're not alone. Even though ICF has some writings on their website around that, a lot of the coaches don't understand the distinction, including the mentors. I often get questions from even the seasoned mentor, what that is, what's the difference, because they want to promote themselves that way. So in the mentoring of a coach, especially in the way we do it, the ICF way, and then my approach is to really draw out of the mentee. And in a way, we're collaborating to improve their the coaching skills, the core competencies. In that mentoring relationship, we are looking on how the competencies are being expressed and what needs to be developed on those sessions. Mentor in a given traditional definition can share the best practices and experiences from their background. That's why it's important for you to find somebody that resonates with you, and also draw it out of the mentee, because their best practices may be different than what the mentor is, and what it may not be as authentic to them. When it comes to coaching supervision, some of you may remember in our sessions, because all of you have that relationship with me, I get to be a little bit more bossy. That say, okay, no, you have to do your ACC now, you're ready to get this filed. And that's where the supervision comes in, that there is, in a way, channeling the person towards the direction when they are somewhat ready and in doubt and so on, that there is a little bit more directiveness in that relationship, and that can get into the business aspect, or it could get into the expression of the competencies as well, but more again in a directing the person than a mentoring collaborative relationship. It's a little bit more directive, little bit more not necessarily a right term, but parental sort of guiding, like, let's do this, it needs to be done, we're going to do this in this way, more of a project leadership supervision that way. How clear was that?
That was very clear to me. Thank you so much for creating that distinction. And I love this idea, this kind of the bossy kind of, parental role, more directive, as opposed to something that's more collaborative, that requires more resonance and authenticity. So thank you for that.
And you may remember me getting on your case about submitting your application. How was that for you versus the mentoring relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think it still felt extremely respectful. I didn't feel like I had a parent on top of me. No.
Right, but you could feel the distinction between the regular mentor session and those conversations?
Yes, there were things, definitely a to-do list, things I had to get done, and kind of a little push to get them done. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share their experiences on that? Rob?
Yeah, I'll share. In working with Tijen for the last probably year and a half, it reached that point where it was time for the little push, and you suggested. And when I questioned whether I was ready, I mean, you said I was ready, and you'd heard me coach, and it was time to do it and get the credentials. So I experienced that also.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you for that. Anyone else? Michelle?
I would also just mention that I was in a place where I had a lot of ideas for what to do and how to do things. And I was sort of in a place where I wasn't sure what the priority was. And I remember you were very clear about recommending the priority of getting that certification done. And I definitely noticed the switch from that mentoring to that supervision, the feel of that. But it was the spark that I needed. And, I started working with you before I had the credential, and now I have the credential. So
beautiful. Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to highlight that distinction, and you could see that this is for obviously for people, our audience, to understand the distinction and how they can seek for that help when they need it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyone else wanted to share anything about that? No. Okay, Marta.
Yeah, so I would love to get us started on, the question, what is most important to you about the mentoring relationship in your development as a coach? So whoever would like to share, just come forward and we would love to hear your thoughts. Dave, go for it.
Yeah, what's most important? I was thinking about this before the podcast, and this is all aligned with reasons why I chose Tijen in the first place. It's so important to have, for me, to have the rapport, the resonance, and the trust when selecting a mentor coach. And then we kind of talked about the mentoring versus the supervision part. And I found that Tijen really had the instinct to know when to flip between the two with me. So sometimes I needed the mentoring, and sometimes like, Dave, you just need to do this. And I really appreciated that. Just the broadness of view, because there's a lot of people who are starting out, and it's fine that they're starting out in the place that they are. But Tijen's been around for in the coaching world for so many years and seen so many different things. And I really appreciated just the broadness of the different situations she had. And this was I don't know if I have a good way of putting it, except just the way to put it, but I really appreciated working with someone, I guess, more evolved than me, if you can talk, if you can appreciate the word evolution. Working with someone close in development could only take me that far. And that's fine if that's the thing that I'm working on. But if there's other parts that need transforming or transcendence, as the case may be, might as well I got to go find that person.
I can add to that. That was also something that drew me to working with Tijen as a mentor coach, is that I really wanted to be challenged. I already had worked for 20 years as an occupational therapist in mental health and other settings. And I wasn't interested in coaching at a really superficial level. I wanted to learn skills that would allow me to really help people with transformation and deep change, but that wouldn't be possible for me if I wasn't also doing that same sort of deep work. And so, in addition to supporting me in challenging my coaching abilities through mentor coaching, I've experienced a lot of transformational coaching for myself personally, and that was also really important for me. In addition to that, I think, was drawn to Tijen because I already had a lot of familiarity with the evidence base coming from the field of psychology, and Tijen's wide breadth of knowledge was really useful for me to be able to continue applying all of those things I used in my past profession now as a coach while embodying the coaching mindset. And that was important to me too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, both what Marianne and Dave said resonate with my thoughts in this exactly, were that I really was looking for a safe and challenging environment to approach coaching at a level that was beyond what seemed superficial in terms of coach training, where here's a list of questions, ask the questions. And when I met Tijen, I knew right away two things. Marianne, you hit one of them, was that I needed to do my work to be able to connect with others in a way that I had not been doing, and also slow the process down. That it was going to happen in the time that it needed to happen, and Tijen, with all of what you both said, created that really safe and challenging environment that I was looking for.
I would definitely agree with all three. My initial, I guess my initial search was for somebody to help me get that credential, and I literally combed the whole ICF website and narrowed it down to 3, and then looked at each one of those and saw that that Tijen also had, definitely the evidence base. She also had process work, which resonated with me, but she also incorporated the esoteric, which was an interest of mine. And so while I started, literally, I was just like, somebody just needs to help me get this. I realized very quickly, what else was available. And that resonated so deeply that there was another level or more levels of coaching that were possible. And I realized that I didn't want to just get it. The credential. That seems like so long ago, honestly. It's it's been quite an educational learning journey.
May I add one more thing?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So this is touched on by everybody here. I just wanted to say that one of the things that really drew me to Tijen was simply experiencing her coaching. And I like to experience coaching across, or just, whether it's a doctor or, somebody's process, whatever, before I go and try to learn it, just to see if it did anything for me. And in this case, I'd met Tijen, did coaching with her, and then I did coaching with some other folks. And there was definitely something different in that experience that I did not see or experience with anyone else. And when I get that, then I go, I need to figure that out. What is that? Where's this intuition? Where's this knowledge coming from? Where, whatever she's getting it, and how is she getting that? How is she doing all the magic that she does? And that's what usually draws me to a person to engage with them, is to figure out what's going on in there. How do I learn that magic? How do I get more of it? So for me, it really needed to resonate with me as almost like a patient or client, or whatever you want to call myself, first, and then that's usually what draws me in.
Beautiful. And Marta, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Dave hit on something really key, the magic. I remember when I first experienced Tijen's mentor coaching, I would listen to her speak, and I just felt like there were so many gems and there was so much learning. And it's such a deep transformational level that I thought this was incredible. And I really felt that, that resonance. And for me, what's really important is the trust, really having someone create a safe space, which Tijen does so well, and the learning and the personal growth, not just the growth as a coach, but the personal growth and the self-reflection that comes along with this process.
Lovely, thank you. I wanted to say that for the audience, right? You can see these beautiful coaches are all, as everyone is, unique. And so that then the mentorship relationship or the supervision relationship needs to understand and honor that uniqueness. For some of you, although like Michelle was sharing, her main intent originally was to get the credentials, and at the same time I was feeling, it took us maybe 8 months, right, Michelle, for me to okay, Michelle, before we did that, we did a lot of self-work to prepare for coaching, to be ready. This is in a way that self-expression as a coach requires some readiness to get there and being that to be able to create that environment for another human being to come and open up to you, right? For some of you, like Marianne was coming from a very delicate time that required for us to build a lot of trusting relationship for that flower to blossom, right? And every one of you, and for David, I needed to constantly stretch myself to stretch him. It required different engagement for every one of you, and it will be helpful as one looks at a mentor, that who am I and how that person can respond to who am I and who I want to be, what is my next version, and how my coaching expression is going to be like. And it's not only the mechanics, that's where it gets into supervision. But even then, it's not necessarily people don't know how to go do stuff. It's just they are not ready for it yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible, Tijen, that you come with that ability to understand your mentees at such a deep level and really see them in a way that I think maybe it's hard, at least I'm not able to see myself. And so it's so eye-opening and it's really incredible.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So I know some of this we've already touched upon, but I would love to have everyone elaborate a little bit more on the key features of the Genco method mentor coaching.
That was beneficial to you.
Yeah.
Well, I was really drawn to Tijen because I already had a background in doing some mind-body work and somatic work, and that's very much part of the Genco method approach to coaching, as well as energy reflections and the spiritual side of coaching. And all of those things really fascinated me, kind of getting to that magic of coaching that Marta was mentioning earlier. But another thing that I don't think we have touched on yet that I think is unique about your mentor coaching, Tijen, I took a continuing ed course at the beginning of this year that was comparing competencies at the PCC level to competencies at the MCC level. And what became abundantly clear to me was that Tijen has been teaching us MCC level skills from the very beginning. And I think that is something really unique about your teaching that I really appreciate.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because often what I see, and I am seeing a lot of coach educations around the globe as an assessor for ICF. I receive a coach recording around internationally, and pretty much 99, 100% that comes to me is the beginning level coaching, which I believe against, because when behaviors are formed incorrectly, then you need to change the behavior to get them to the advanced level. Why not teach the advanced coaching from the beginning? And who are we to decide they need to be progressing, right? So yeah, thank you for that. Mm-hmm.
If I could jump in,
Yeah.
a lot of what I've experienced from Tijen was just opening up my intuition to be able to tap into it in different ways, and that required a lot of work internally, tearing myself down and then building myself up again, so to speak. But yeah, it's just learning so many different models and different ways of approaching inquiry to a client. Because oftentimes we, as we, were going through our mental coaching, as I went through mine, and I think Tijen would agree with this, is I'm in my brain a lot. I'm an intellectual guy. I was a tech guy for a long time. And she just found different ways of just completely messing with that. And but once we broke through that, then it revealed what was truly underneath. And so her doing it to me, very useful. And then learning on top of that how to do it in my own coaching was just fantastic, and it's unique in her style of mentor coaching.
And I think I would add to that one of the things that was very appealing to me was, and I think it must come from is it the Six Sigma work, where you're making a process as efficient as possible. I'm kind of a minimalist, so sometimes less is more for me, and not having to clear through all of whatever else is around there, and kind of really getting to the heart of whatever that is, the skill, even as much as like helping myself define, like, I feel like the intuition was already starting to come, but then like, what is it, and what do I do with it, and how do I trust it, and things like that too. So there was the process part of it. And I think that one of the things I didn't realize right away, but really means a lot to me moving forward, is that I understand that Tijen is doing what she does in an effort to make the world a better place. And that means, if you'll hear about harmony where you don't think harmony is possible, and that means a lot, because I think that there's the what of coaching with her, and then there's like our own whys, and that was something that was also really resonated with me.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I agree with what everyone was saying. For me, it was Tijen was offered such a unique approach and this vision and understanding that I knew right away, if I could just have a glimpse of what Tijen sees and feels and can know, I will be better for those that I'm working with. And it's been, it's fascinating to be coached and to be mentored, and to be able just to see the changes in myself and those who participate on a regular basis. So it's unique and comprehensive for me.
Thank you. And all that your life touches to, right? That's where I see mentoring as such an sacred relationship, because you're touching someone's life to touch many lives. That I take it very seriously. Thank you. Yeah, Marianne?
Oh, I already shared
Right.
some things.
Yes, you did in the beginning. And Marta?
Yes, I would love to share. So what Michelle was saying, I really I wanted to piggyback on that. And I think it's incredible how you, Tijen, it's almost like your purpose is to create harmony and integration. And you do that in your coaching. You help us do that in our coaching. And that all has this incredible ripple effect. So I think that's so beautiful. And I love it when you say, don't believe the client. Always dig deeper to see what is kind of the thing beneath the thing. And so I feel like that deep dive is so important. And so it's so difficult for me to coach on this kind of transactional level, like you call it, because there's this desire to take that deep dive. And that's something that you taught me how to do.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's where the magic is, right? That's where we see it and all benefit, even observing that magic that transforms everybody. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. And that's sort of, in a way, my mission is, right? Making this world, this planet, a better place, changing one mind at a time, quietly. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for our next question, we've talked about the key features of Genco, the Genco method mentor coaching, what it means to us. how it's been so important to us. And I'm curious how you would compare Tijen's approach from other mentoring relationships that you've had.
I can go first. I think in comparison to other mentoring relationships, one of the clear differences is just the depth. And we've all been talking about that all along here. But I think one of the really profound differences too is just presence. I always know, Tijen, you are so present with me and often um, seeing things that I'm not seeing, but in a very safe environment, you also really create this sacred space. And that's very different from other relationships I've had in my past career. I'm thinking of relationships where sometimes working with a mentor felt a little bit like getting beat up. It wasn't nearly the same sort of deep and meaningful relationship that you allow us all to have with you, Tijen.
Beautiful, thank you. And I wanted to share that there are times, right, you all know and experience, I challenge you a lot also in our sessions, so for audience to understand that it doesn't mean that your mentor is only going to agree with you or kind of give you the positive growth feedback, that challenging and creating the safe space with a lot of love is possible.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing with what you both just said, and the uniqueness is in that love and the kind and compassionate way that you meet me and each of us where we are, and it's that true co-creation and an offering in a safe yet challenging way that is very special. And I've never experienced that in all my years of having mentors and whatever I've done.
And I think I'd add to that too, just that there's the mentor relationships I've had in the past, they all really wanted to help me succeed, but the success recipe was their recipe. And so I think what's different is while I'm not being challenged, all the time, and I'm not getting beat up, I'm being challenged, and I'm being allowed to have my own pace and my own agency over the journey. When going through the process, and I don't know, when I look at the rest of the coaches here, like we are all very uniquely our own coaches. We have an authentic way of doing things, and we've all worked with you individually. So it's not a set recipe for how things are going to go. You're gonna co-create, kind of like Rob said.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could share now, the thought that came to mind was my own journey in selecting a mentor coach. And this is something I often tell people. It's like, shop around and experience a lot of people, because you don't ever know if one person's going to be the right person for you or not. And so I've experienced a bunch of mentor coaches, and I still talk to a few of them. And the one thing that I find is unique about Tijen is she does things a lot like we talk about unique. It's different. It's just different. And we've talked about me getting out of my brain and all that kind of stuff. And I find with a lot of other mentor coaches, they tend to stay in my brain, or I stay in my brain, which can work, and it seems to work, and it gets me certain places. But when I experience coaching with Tijen, it almost never stays there. It's somewhere else. And that's even interesting to me, that when it happens, or whenever it happens, because there's always something hiding somewhere else in my body, my heart, and the other body parts, whatever, or even in my spirit, if I'm analyzing that. So, and there's super interesting things to uncover there, that I could stay and keep thinking about things in the way that other people have asked me to, and very traditional coaching techniques, and that's fine. But with Tijen, I know I'm getting something unique and different, and often more insightful. And also, by the way, as I watch her do it on me, I am also learning too to engage those parts of me to use in my own coaching.
Lovely. Thank you, David. And we didn't mention that I call it whole person, whole being coaching. And it may or may not be the thing for the people are going to watch this. So if you're interested in that, then you may actually look for that towards engaging. And it can be applied in every aspect in coaching, whether it's executive life or well-being coaching, that we need to coach the whole person, because you may have a disagreement at home, but that is going to go to work with you. You're not going to leave that part alone. Hopefully not. That's when the persona starts to split and breaks down. But yeah, so if that's your thing, then you may also want to look for mentors that way. And Marta, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest differences that your mentor coaching has done for me, and one of the biggest learnings has been to assess a client's readiness level, to meet them where they are, acknowledge where they are emotionally and mentally, allow them to grieve, and then, help them or guide them in moving on. Whereas I think most mentor coaches are, immediately teach you to ask, how would you feel better? How, could this be different? And I feel like that space is really important for a client. And that's where real change happens. And I feel like with you as a mentor coach, I've really been able to develop my emotional tolerance muscle, where I can be with a client with very charged emotions, and I feel perfectly fine. I don't feel triggered. I don't feel like I have to rush the client out of this.
Yeah.
So no, so many wonderful things that I could say.
Thank you, Marta. Yeah, I call that developing resilience, empathetic resilience towards authentic compassion, right? Because our ability to stay when somebody and see somebody in pain is a big skill, that not get into our own needs to move them around. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. And as you speak about needs, another thing that really stands out about your mentoring is you always say, have your needs met outside of the coaching session. I think that's something I heard from the very beginning, and it stuck with me. It's not about me. It's about my client.
Yeah. Often that's forgotten in the mentor relationships, right? That because mentors, again, I am teaching you the way this is because I do it the same way. The things we haven't worked on ourselves are going to accompany us into the coaching conversations. If I tie my success to seeing somebody in progress, then that's what I'm going to be, that pushy coach, getting you to the action, getting you to get rid of the emotion or whatever. So, and that's another aspect that you're presenting, Marta, that people need to pay attention to, how progressed my coach is, how much self-work the mentor is, how much work they are doing. I would ask in the chemistry session where you're shopping for a mentor, what is your self-care practice? How much self-reflection do you do? And in fact, Michelle and I had this dialogue, and I said, I have a language for that. I live a meditative life. I don't meditate some part of my day. It's my life is a meditation. So you need to understand how you are and whether you want to grow that way, and then ask those questions, right? Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. So I'm wondering, as we all kind of reflect on our growth journey, what are you noticing about the impact that the mentoring has had regarding where you started and where you are now?
there's just so much. How much time do we have? Not enough, probably.
Exactly.
I think we could, and I have talked to Tijen about writing that book, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many pearls that I've learned. You mentioned some that you've learned, Marta, that I've also experienced too. But things like slowing down, creating space, holding space, the timing is really important. Respecting the client's time, even in a 30-minute session or an hour, that time we have, but doesn't matter. They need their time, despite what the session time is. I mean, there's so much that I needed to learn. Right? I was impatient in the beginning. I thought coaching was more like a teaching thing and a directive thing, which is more like sports coaching, right? This is not that. It's got the same word, but it's not exactly the same way. And changing or addressing all the triggers that I had, that and some I didn't even know were there, that until I came to those situations, then I grew into awareness that, oh yeah, that was like my past here, or my mother did this or whatever. And then all of a sudden, boom, right? I thought I had the answer for this person. I'm like, no, that's not right. That's not the way to go. And so just a lot of, and that was unexpected. When I entered into coach training, I didn't expect any of that to happen. I just thought, oh, I could learn it from a book, and like everything else I learned from a book, and I'd come out being able to do whatever it was I was supposed to learn. Boy, was I wrong. I was completely wrong on that. And if you know me, I love being in very uncomfortable places. I did not expect the discomfort that I landed in with coach training. So I really enjoy the challenge. And I've often said that sometimes experiencing Tijen's teachings and mentoring is like running after a really fast bus, and you're just trying to catch up, and you're trying to grab that rung to hop on. But for some reason, some part of me loves that, and I want more, right? I want to keep running faster and finding out how to catch that bus. And maybe someday, after 20 years or so, maybe I'll get there. But it's a great journey, at least, to get there.
Thank you. But I want an audience to know that because of your tendencies, you're all stretching me. So I understand your needs, and then I have to run the bus to support all your needs. Right.
Oh, I actually like that image, that I'm not alone running after the bus. My teacher's actually next to me running with me.
Right. I am looking at your speed and cruising ahead of you, because you all have those needs. And sometimes I do tell you that I wasn't ready to develop this training, but thank you. It was a stretching. I wasn't ready to write the book, but thank you. And yeah, it's all, it's a good exchange. And I am appreciative of all of you as well. Yeah. Thank you.
I love that metaphor, David. That's so, it's so accurate. That I've had that feeling of chasing the bus too. And it's been quite a long time that you and I have been with Tijen, because she's seen us all the way from our first coaching training to now. And for me, a really important part of that has been Tijen's support as I transition from working with more of a therapist mindset, that more directive approach, to now embodying more of a coaching mindset. But one thing I love is I feel like every now and then I'm sitting on the bus with Tijen now, and it's really lovely to be able to see things from her point of view and join her in that bus ride. Along with that, I just want to say that I've also had a lot of really profound personal growth in this process of becoming a coach with Tijen. I'm more present. I'm more connected to my authentic, heart-centered, true self and the life that I really want for myself. I'm happier and I'm more at peace. And these are the things now that I try to support my clients with. And I'm really grateful for all of that.
And also you are now a mentor coach as well, right? That was part of the supervision push.
That's right. Yes, now I am working as a mentor coach as well, and this is my next stretch and one that I really enjoy too.
Beautiful, yeah. Thanks. Rob?
I can add on to the idea of the bus is that my growth has been, I'm not chasing a bus. I recognized there was a bus stop that I could sit and wait for my bus to come to me and open to it. It makes me think of something I said years ago when a colleague said I needed to stop and, smell the roses. And I said, what roses? And working with Tijen, it's like, Rob, open your eyes. And that's what they're everywhere. And so that's been my growth in allowing to be, as Marianne said, true to who I am and have all the parts align on my bus. And so, and Tijen, you're there driving sometimes, telling me to slow down, sometimes speed, but it's been an amazing transformation for me. And it's that holistic, humanistic approach. And there's a lot of joy and fun in it. So as the tears come, we're laughing. So it's a really beautiful experience.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you. I mean, you all sitting in a rose garden. I just say, maybe if you are ready, just open your eyes for a little bit. Yeah, beautiful. Michelle.
Oh, as everybody was talking, I was just remembering, I think it was a year ago that I started in the monthly mentor sessions with you. And I just remember watching and being like, whoa, this is a whole different level. And then once in a while getting like asked what I would do next and being like, I have no idea how this goes. And then as time has gone on, I recognized, some new people come and they feel that same way. Like, I have no idea, but now I'm starting to understand, the nuances a little bit more, where I can jump in and say, okay, this is what I would do next. And sometimes it's, you might have an idea or something about it, but just that experience has helped me understand a little bit of how my coaching has progressed. And like Marianne said, and you've said, we have to do our own work. And I've done an immense amount of personal work over the last year that has, just helped me, my personal life to begin. I know that's one of the points I was thinking, like the personal growth is worth it in and of itself. And then helping me be ready for what I want to do with my coaching business. So I think that's what I would say at this point.
Beautiful. And Marta?
Yeah, I'm thinking of what Marianne said, that, we've known you from the beginning of our coaching journeys. And I feel like we're like these little toddler coaches, and now we've evolved. And I remember at the beginning, I was so anxious to prove myself as a coach. I felt like there was this destination I had to arrive at, almost as if like I was on this like speeding bus. And now I feel like I've slowed down, and I feel like it's about this personal and kind of professional journey of growth. And now I see it through kind of the lens of curiosity and appreciation and patience. And I feel like you had this incredible gift, Tijen, to kind of offer like a sense of peace, where it feels like, we're exactly where we need to be.
Beautiful. It's an honor. I mean, every one of you, I have a funny memory that I may not remember people's names, but I will remember listening your very first coaching conversations to give you feedback. Or all laughing, right? How fun that was and where you arrived. It's such an honor for me to see that coaching you around those things that was at the very superficial level, just because of what the coach trainings were teaching you, and then where you arrived, that having soul enriching conversations with another human being, that their life is going to touch many lives. It's just an incredible honor for me to see your blossoming, and really also, as you heard me say, that the rapport with the client is not only established in one session or in the beginning of the session. It occurs every minute, every second of every session. So I feel honored and to be able to have that sort of a trusting, enriching relationship in both sides. That as much my hand touched to your life, same I received also from you. So I am appreciative as well.
Tijen, it's funny how you bring up, how you remember the first session that, that we send you, for you to hear. And as you say that, I don't know if I should laugh or if I should cringe at the chocolate bar. My first session, it was coaching around a chocolate bar.
Exactly. You were, if that's okay, we can share. Marta was coaching somebody how many chocolate bars that they can eat in a day. So, and now she coaches people in life exchange, life transformation and other deep conversations. It's beautiful to see for me, all of your progressions. It's incredible. Yeah.
Thank you, Tijen. I still remember you saying it was cute, the chocolate bar session.
But I'm glad I had to remind you that. And I remember David was having a conversation when I listened for his exam. The client was saying, I had a heart attack. He was doing nothing, didn't even acknowledge the person. He was making sure the client did something, and it is cute. In a way, that's how we learn, right? And I remember having a discussion with another seasoned mentor coach, and she was telling that we all have listening disability. Culturally, that when somebody starts to tell us something, we start telling them about our own experience. We don't listen, we don't understand, and that's when I talk about get your needs met elsewhere. We are all human, we have needs, but it doesn't need to come to the coaching session to push the client after the heart attack to do something else. Or, talk to them about the chocolate bars and how many they can eat and all that. Yeah, that is cute.
Yeah, so it sounds like we've all come a very long way.
Yes, you all did. Yeah.
Yeah. So before, we end and, before we get off the call, I would love to ask everyone what they're up to in their coaching. But before that, does anyone want to add anything to the conversation at this point? Something that they feel they wanted to say, but didn't have the opportunity?
Maybe just one quick thing. I mentioned shopping around and all that. Yeah, shop around, try out a bunch of mentor coaches, see who resonates with you, who you build rapport with and all that. But also be aware of what is going on and what you're getting out of it and how you feel about it. And make sure then you try Tijen out. And then see how she compares to everybody else.
If all fails.
Yeah. And then, well, I'll let you decide. I can't put any words in people's mouths or anything, but I'm guessing you'll find something's different and something special that you won't find with any other mentor coach. So I encourage you to at least give it a shot and see what you might find if you give it a try.
Thank you.
I'd like to, I was just going to add that something that I really treasure about mentor coaching with Tijen is what hopefully the listener has experienced today, listening to all of us. It's this lovely community of coaches that I now know as a result of this work. And that is really important to me as well, being part of this community.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Supportive, harmonic community. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing, Michelle. Rob, any final comments or no?
Well, I would just add, I don't always try to be the devil's advocate, but I'm like the opposite of David. Like I couldn't not try. It was like an obvious choice for me, although I had no idea why when I started. So sometimes our intuition leads us, and sometimes, of course, I had done all the the research ahead of time before I made the choice. So I think that's definitely valid. But there's also sometimes that point where you just realize, sometimes even partway through, that this is a unique and perfect fit for you. And I would just I think I would just express my gratitude to Tijen for everything along the journey and this community, which is definitely something that I was looking for that I didn't know. And I guess the other little part, in addition to the community, it's not everyone that you can have these kinds of conversations with. And I definitely have a lot of gratitude for that.
Thank you.
And I just want to express my gratitude and appreciation for participating. And similar to Michelle, and early in my training in the program that I was in, Tijen was listening to a practicum, and I was the coach right away. And she intervened, and I was like, I have to seek her out, and I was nervous about it. It took me a little while to do it, but I knew it was the right thing to do, and it was definitely a blessing. So thank you.
Blessing also is mine. I'm so honored that you did that. Every one of you did that. Yeah. I remember very first mentor sessions with you, Marta. I was actually traveling. I was in Jamaica, and our call was kept dropping. Published a lot of things. Yeah, we have also funny moments like that, right?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
well, thank you for everyone for sharing. This has been such a beautiful conversation, and I have so much appreciation for it right now, and I'm feeling that sense of peace that I normally do after having finished a conversation with Tijen and other, like-minded coaches. So thank you. And before we end, I would like to invite you to share what you're up to in your coaching or your coaching business, or if there's anything that you would like people to know about an upcoming offer.
Well, I would like to mention that I am teaching an NBHWC exam content and test prep class that Tijen created, and we are about to start our next cohort for anyone out there who is considering taking the National Board Exam for Health and Wellness Coaches.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes, that's a very well sold class, and people often find a lot of benefit out of that as well. Yeah. Anyone else? Anything, Michelle?
Sure. I will just mention that I continue to see individual clients. I have a couple of openings available right now in my schedule. I'm doing some mind-body skills groups, and our next session is going to start mid-January. It's an 8-week session where you'll learn and practice skills that you can take home with you. And then I'm also recently, thank you to Tijen's training, Reiki Master. So I'm offering Reiki sessions and also incorporating Reiki and energetic approaches into coaching these days.
And it's beautiful. Yeah. Anyone
I
else?
guess I'll mention that, well, let's see, this year has been a big educational year for me. So, and that's going to extend all the way through to the end of the year. But then I'm excited to see what comes out of all that next year. So there's going to be a lot of integration and offerings on, like Michelle, on the energetic side of things. Very appreciative of the training that I've received from Tijen on that, and as well as Reiki, which has been already really interesting, getting some really good results from that with some folks. And yeah, just lots of coaching still. I coach for at least two kind of agencies of sorts. So there's a lot going on there, and it's also my testing ground for a lot of the stuff that I'm working on now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. There's a lot going on and a lot of really interesting stuff that is going to come into my practice. I'm looking forward to it.
And David, do you want to touch upon the Reiki coaching sessions you're doing with the oncology patients?
Oh, sure. I have dabbled into now some Reiki coaching, Reiki sessions, Reiki coaching with oncology patients, and huge growth there, I must say, in a lot of ways, but also very gratifying too, to see actually something, well, in a lot of ways, Reiki is very simple, but the effect is enormous on these folks. It's amazing. And it's really amazing to see these folks who are suffering like that, have these kind of conditions, but yet, wow, after our sessions, they are getting better. So there's something there that I really enjoy seeing happening in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah, and if the audience is interested in that, they can reach out to David, Michelle, or Rob. Yeah. And Rob, do you want to share anything?
I'll just share that I've also participated in the various trainings, some of the Reiki training with Tijen and some others in this group. And the approach that I offer is, I think, different and unique. And I have some openings for individual coaching clients. I'm also doing some consulting work for physicians and healthcare experience. So that's what I'll be doing for the coming year and continuing to grow with this group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Rob also does executive coaching and holistic well-being coaching, transformational coaching. And Marianne, do you want to talk anything about your coaching and mentoring in addition to the course?
In addition to the course, I do offer one-on-one coaching services and sometimes mentoring with new coaches. I bring to my coaching, in addition to my background, my training from Tijen in the areas of somatic coaching and neurological coaching, also taking a very holistic approach to personal transformation and coaching.
Yes, yes, and for people who are interested in somatic aspects and neurologic aspects, that you can reach Rob or Marianne. Also brings additional knowledge in addition to the training with me from her occupational therapy background into somatic aspects. Yeah. And Marta, what are you up to?
Yeah, so I am doing a lot of one-on-one work with solopreneurs, small business owners who want to clarify their messaging, find their voice. We do a lot of coaching around the fear of visibility and the fear of putting yourself out there. And we do a lot of writing and editing together. And I co-facilitate workshops, and we are getting ready to co-facilitate one called Creating Lasting Change, which we are going to be offering in January.
Mhm.
And yeah, and that's what I'm up to. And I would also love to hear what you're up to, Tijen.
Well, I'm up to mentoring also, and I'm gonna retire now. It's a joke aside. Two upcoming events, right? The mentor coaching for December is open for registrations, and that's is a very even richer than normal other ones, because that one that I often have a reflective session that gets us, the participants, to look at the whole year in a reflective manner to see their growth. It's a lot of transformation in those sessions, and it's beautiful to step aside and integrate, look at what we have done with the year. So that's there. And also branding a niche workshop is coming up in December that helps to understand authentic being, authentic self-expression, whether through coaching or whatever the persons are doing. So it's often quite helpful to understand and clarify all that clutter that gets in a way that requires supervisory relationship, which aside, it just softens and soaks them in a water to clean easier. So it's they are all in the upcoming events of gencocoaching.com. Still room for registration. Anything else we want to say before we close, Marta?
Oh, thank you everyone for sharing. It sounds like everyone is up to some very cool things. I loved hearing about everything, kind of the diversity of the offerings, and everything sounds very powerful and very transformational.
Beautiful, yes. And thank you everybody for your time, for your being, for everyone you're touching, for your beauty, and all your contributions today. We hope that our viewers will find it helpful as they look for mentor coaching and they decide how they are going to support themselves and their growth that way. Thank you and take good care.